So welcome. Good evening. For those I don't know, my name is Miles Walton, class of 97, president of the Alumni Association. Thanks for joining us this evening. It's a great way to cap off an amazing weather day for homecoming. And it's no better way to end than to celebrate one of our finest in the community, Helen Vassallo. So I would take a minute to just say thank you to Phil Ryan for all the leadership he's extended to us on an interim basis. As president, the leadership is not going without notice, and we've gotten multiple solicitations for you to continue the job for multiple years to come. And the only other thing I'd say is eat your dessert on the table. Don't be afraid. You can use your forks and knives. It won't disturb anybody who's speaking. Put them down when Helen's talking, but anybody else, eat the dessert, otherwise it's going to go to waste. We don't want it to go to waste. The Alumni Citations Committee has done an outstanding job this year, identifying alumni and friends who have done wonderful things, and the Goat's Head Award is no exception. Tonight we present the Goat's Head Award for Lifetime Commitment to WPI to Professor Helen Vassallo. Graduate School Class of 1982. This award recognized an individual for his or her lifetime contribution to the community at large and reflects the scholarship, friendship, support, and overall responsiveness to needs. Interest of the students, parents, alumni, faculty, and staff over the many years. We're thrilled to present Helen and realistically her entire family this award as she joins an esteemed collection of Goat's Head recipients, including Dean Grogan, Bill Trask, Tuna, and Father Scanlon. At this time, I'd like to welcome our speakers to the stage and ask that each of them take a seat to my left. They are Mark Rice, Vice Provost for Innovation and Entrepreneurship and the Dean of the School of Business. Bill Trask, Tuna, retired Director of Career Planning and all-around WPI good guy. Helen's daughter, Rosemary Vassallo, class of 89, right up here to the left. Tracy Sinkowitz, class of 2014, representing the youngins, and a member of Phi Sigma Sigma sorority. Usually, when I was here, you just call them Phi Sigs, but I don't want to be inappropriate. Phi Sigma Sigma sorority. And Warren Schmale, did I get it right? Close, yeah. Class of 1994. So as you can see, we have a representative cross-section of those who would like to offer profiles. And I also want to ask Rachel Delisle, class of 1996 and 2006, and president-elect of the Alumni Association, to join me on stage. So I'm not going to do much talking. I'm going to let the speakers do all the hard work. Mark Rice, you're first.
So, Helen, you've had a positive impact on so many members of the WPI community. All I'm going to do tonight is share some comments from some of your most ardent admirers. I'll start with Professor Mike Elms. Here are some of Helen's qualities that I've come to admire over the years. Her brilliant mind, her skills as a teacher, her wisdom and kindness, her political savvy, her stage presence, her story, mother of 10 and grandmother to many, world expert on anesthesia, career changer, in her years and still going strong, a star who keeps shining brightly. From Art Gerstenfeld. You know, you're going to make this really hard on me. I'm going to have to stop looking at you. Helen is not only an outstanding teacher, she is an outstanding person. If ever there was a teacher who cares about her students, Helen is it. Congratulations, Helen. I have enjoyed being your colleague these many years. From Norm Wilkinson. Helen has been an active member of the WPI community for decades, even acting in student plays. She's been an advisor and role model to generations of WPI students. from Chris Wobie. Helen has enthusiastically contributed greatly of her time and energy to the Great Problems seminars. I am very grateful for the years of service that Helen has given to this initiative. From John Sullivan, our current Secretary of the Faculty. You knew this was coming. Professor Helen Vassallo's service to the faculty spans the full spectrum of faculty governance. She has served on virtually every faculty committee and was the Secretary of the Faculty from 2007 to 2009. We, the faculty, are delighted that she is being honored with the Goat's Head Award for Lifetime Commitment to WPI. Helen, I saved two for last because when I travel and meet WPI alumni, I always ask, what do you remember about your WPI experience, and what faculty do you remember fondly? More than any other faculty, your name is the one that's mentioned. So I have comments from two alumni. Leo Guest-Stetner. Professor Vassallo was a major part of my time at WPI, and without her help, I probably would not have graduated. She taught me a number of important lessons that are still part of my daily business life. It is great to hear that Professor Vassallo is being recognized. The award is well deserved. And I think that I saved the best alumnus for last. Well, one of the best anyway. This is from a guy by the name of Steve Vassallo. 12 years ago, my mom came out to see my wife and me in California shortly before the birth of our first child. It was a wonderful visit, and unlike most of the vacations I remember as a kid, a rare opportunity for Mom and I to connect without the interruption of broken alternator belts, missed exits off the Garden State Parkway, and siblings arguing over which would get which window seat. Yes, this was a rare one-on-one visit for us both. You see, just as my mom has never forgotten that she has 10 kids, we also have never forgotten that we have 9 siblings. Toward the end of this California visit, my mom and I were driving back from Tiburon, where she had been attending a week-long elder hostel session on, classic Helen, photography, Italian opera, and the music of Sinatra. While stuck in traffic on the Golden Gate Bridge, I asked my mom how much longer she planned to teach her organizational behavior class. At that moment, a 20-year teaching career seemed like long enough to me, but my mom wasted no time in saying, "Oh, probably forever. It keeps me young." I laughed at the humorous contradiction of her response and was reminded of her capacity to understand the rules of life well enough to bend them. To my mom, teaching is what has kept her young. At the age of 35, my mom completed a PhD in physiology while raising 7 children. 3 more children, and 15 years later, she earned an MBA. Another 15 years later, she decided it was time to learn how to pilot a helicopter. Fixed wings weren't challenging enough. She holds the key to the city of Worcester and was American Businesswoman of the Year in 1981. And today she is blessed with WPI's Goat's Head Award for Lifetime Achievement. Yet she's also my mom, finding time to knit sweaters and stockings for her grandchildren and listening to me when I'm struggling with life's difficulties. She has shown me that insight, strength, and compassion come from appreciating each and every experience life throws at us, and that a strong personal life doesn't have to compete with professional success. In fact, it can enhance it. Thank you, Mom. You are an inspiration to us all and the ultimate embodiment of Gandhi's counsel that our now 11-year-old reminded me of last week. Live as if you were to die tomorrow. Learn as if you were to live forever. Helen, thank you for your long-standing commitment, your positive can-do attitude, your enthusiasm, and your dedication to WPI and all the members of our community.
I was looking for a folder that was, oh, here it is, hidden away. I mean, Helen, I couldn't do anything without notes, you know me. Welcome, Helen, for this honor. You have been an outstanding faculty member, a great teacher, an excellent advisor, especially for Phi Sigma Sigma. Notice I say Phi Sigma Sigma, not Phi Sig, because I give the girls a little heat once in a while when they forget there was a fraternity by that name, and still here on the campus. But of all the things that I know you best, it's the ferociousness of your reading. Not that you know Shakespeare and Milton, but people like Childs and Thor and Grisham and Balducci, and to say nothing about our WPI alumnus by the name of Gary Gosh Garian, class of '64. I got to know Helen after several other incidences, but mainly because of our reading. I like to read, Helen likes to read. I gave her thousands of books. She's maybe given me one or two. In fact, one of the ones I have to keep referring to is On Your Safari to Africa on King Tut. I still have never seen it since I gave it to you. Maybe it's floating around somewhere, but that's beside the point. The reason that I have to ask to speak here is because of an incident that happened way back in 1982. I think it was in April, right before graduation. And ODCP, which is now CDC, was on the third floor of Boynton Hall. And we did have an elevator, but most of us were asked to walk up and down the stairs. However, one day I heard a voice, or not a voice, but I heard some footsteps coming down the stairway, and the secretary was on the phone. So I came out of my unclosed doors to greet this lady who I've never met before. And she said, "My name is Helen Vassallo. I'm a graduate student. I'm here for my 3 tickets," because that was what we were giving out, because back then in 1982, graduation was in Harrington. We never had an outdoor graduation until 19. I'm not quite that old, but I remember it. We had never had an outdoor graduation until 1986. So as she got her 3 tickets, she says, "I would like to get some extras." And I said, "Ma'am, 3 is the limit. I can put you on a waiting list if you'd like, but the chances of getting too many more are going to be hard to do." She says, "Well, I need 8. And I said to myself, 8? I felt like saying to her, "Ma'am, what have you been doing?" But I didn't. I was very polite. And I said, "I'll put you on the waiting list, and should we be able to give you 2 or 3, we will see what we can do for you." After that little tirade, because I don't think she was too happy with me at that time, we managed to become good friends. Thank you, Helen. I have a little gift for you, something that I don't think you even know where it is. Do you have a copy of your 1982 commencement program? No, you don't. I have one for you right here.
I'm her daughter, after all, so I'm short. Good afternoon, and thank you for being here for my mom. I'm Rosemary Vassallo Nelson, class of '89, and I'm the youngest of Professor Vassallo's 6 daughters and her number 8 child. Throughout my entire life, I have known my mother as a student, a professional woman, and most of all, as my first and best teacher, my dad being a close second. My mom received her PhD the same year I was born, and some of my earliest memories are of going into her work and being at her office. Little did she know she was a pioneer for Bring Your Daughter to Work Day. As I approached my teen years, my mom once again headed back to school, and it was to get her MBA through WPI. And afterwards, she got to go to the Sloan School for some of her classes. So this meant long hours commuting into Cambridge. Those of us still living at home had to step up our game, and we pitched in even more. And with her time at a premium, she often had to answer many of my numerous questions with, "Go look it up." The original Google. I probably didn't think it at the time, but she was teaching me self-sufficiency, a strong work ethic, and a love of learning. After earning her MBA, my mom joined WPI's faculty, and I was about 15 at the time. I thought it was neat that she now worked at the school that I passed by every single day home from my after-school job. But I thought it was even cooler when she was named the faculty advisor for the girls at Phi Sig Sig, or Phi Sigma Sigma, sorry ladies. Because all those sorority sisters would come over to the house and adopt me. And since my own sisters were off at college, it was nice to have these really cool sisters around, and none of them thought I was a pesky little sister because I was Helen's daughter. Most importantly, though, through them, I actually saw my mother not as a mother, but now as a mentor. Drawing on her vast store of book smarts and life's toughest teacher experience to gently advise and guide these young women as they began their journeys into highly technical worlds traditionally occupied by men, much in the way that she had blazed her trail into the world of pharmacology and local anesthetics. It's very humbling for a teacher, for a teenager, to realize that their mom might actually have some pretty important stuff to say, and that a teenager, besides myself, would actually want to hear it. So during my junior and senior years of high school, when it came time to start looking at colleges, I can distinctly remember my mom suggesting WPI because of its young biotechnology program. And being a geeky biologist and eager to enter the brave new world of biotech and be the next gene jockey, it only made sense to take advantage of WPI's excellent reputation, the lack of tuition, and become an engineer. But having older siblings and attending the same institute when your mom is a professor meant that my going off to college experience was very different from that of my fellow classmates. Having been through this 7 other times, neither of my parents needed to attend the parent orientation sessions, and moving in day did not have any tears or even a care package. My mom and dad didn't drive up to school to visit me on weekends, but rather I would come home for Sunday dinner and a laundry visit. Thank you for not charging. I quickly learned that if I needed to get my mom's attention on campus, that I better call out Professor Vassallo because mom was just not cutting it. The flip side to that was that as soon as I mentioned that my last name was Vassallo to either a faculty member or a staff member, I found myself with a new surrogate aunt or uncle. I'm sure that all those Tootsie Rolls that she showered on campus police didn't hurt either, because I always got well-being checks from the police when I was staying on campus during breaks. But surviving the first 2 terms were tough. Juggling the freedom of living away from home, which my parents made as a requirement for going to WPI, classwork, and a social life made me want to throw in the towel by Christmas. I found it was my mom who convinced me that I should stick it out through D-term. Well, mom is always right. I completed my freshman year. I started taking E-term classes, and I was actually able to graduate early. Nearing graduation for my bachelor's, I asked my mom for advice again. And since she recommended taking on grad school when I was young, I applied to get my master's through WPI's 5-year program. And since I could take management classes toward this goal, for the first time, I found myself front and center in my mom's management class. You can bet that I was the model of a well-behaved student. I never called her mom, except once when she almost tripped on a power cord. I lied to a fellow classmate and told him that Vassallo was a very common last Italian name. And I studied as hard for her class as I did for any other. I'm happy to say that even though she had to get a very tough grader for the class, that I earned a very solid A. After years of hearing organizational behavior case studies at home, some of those finer details must have rubbed off. For anyone who thinks that teenagers aren't paying any attention, think again. As a professional woman, I continue to sit at my mom's knee to ask her advice on navigating the business world. I see the young Phi Sig Sig girls, sorry ladies, enter my mom's house for their ice cream sundaes and cocoa parties. I'm privileged to see them leave 4 years later as self-assured, determined, capable women who often meet with my mom at the campus center to talk. I know that she gave them the great sound advice that she gave all of her children. I know that her senior seminar students learned things that they never could have picked up in a book, and I hear my son often say, "We'll ask Nana Helen, she'll know the answer," and she does. Growing up, I often wanted to be an only child. All of my siblings did. Not wanting to share her with anyone or anything. As an adult, I discovered that sharing my mom with the students in WPI meant many people could have her in their lives, learning from her as I did. As my sister Ginny so eloquently put it recently, Mom has helped shape me into who I am. She has given her children the gift of faith and trust in God. She has taught us and many others how to live and make a difference in this world. Her guidance, love, and compassion, they are her gifts. Her family and her students are her legacy. I am so honored and happy to have my mom as my first and best teacher and to share her with all of you. Thank you, Mom.
On my first day of class as a freshman at WPI, I climbed to the 4th floor of Salisbury Labs to go to my great problem seminar, Heal the World. On that first day, I realized that it was going to be a special class. My professors, Jill Rolfs and Helen Vassallo, told us that they were there to make us more interesting people. In terms of interesting, I was learning from the best, but at the time I really didn't know it. Professor Vassallo, or Helen as she insisted we call her, took out a copy of the course syllabus and crumpled it up in front of us. She told us that life had no syllabus, and it wasn't likely that we were going to stick to that one too much anyway. From that moment on, my friends and I realized that knowing exactly what to expect in class was a luxury we just weren't going to have. Every day was interesting and different, and we were pushed out of our comfort zones many times. Throughout that semester, I learned more than I'm sure that crumpled up syllabus had intended. Helen instilled a feeling of strength in us. She made her students believe that we could, in fact, heal the world, or at least just a part of it, by being fearless, by being creative, and by working together. It was very obvious that she cared about us. She cared about our successes, and she cared about our failures. Slowly, I got to learn more about that dynamic woman who made me want to climb 4 flights of stairs in the morning. And here are some things I picked up. She has shot an elk. I've seen it. Her memory is amazing. She can fly a helicopter. Her real office is a table by the Dunkin' Donuts in the campus center. She's had an incredibly successful career, and yet she still strives to learn. And she has 10 children. In addition to everything else she does, Dr. Vassallo is the faculty advisor to Phi Sigma Sigma. At the start of each new member period, Helen invites all of the new members over to her house and truly makes an effort to get to know everyone. Professor Vassallo opens her heart and her home to our sisters, proving that she will be there for us throughout our time at WPI. Phi Sigma Sigma, the creed for Phi Sig, has a section that reads, "I will make the most of educational opportunities throughout my life and become a woman of substance, character, and influence." I can't think of a person better than Helen Vassallo who embodies that. And I can't think of a person more deserving than her to be this year's recipient of the Goat's Head Award. Thank you for everything you've done for us, and we are really lucky to have you as our advisor.
So I realize this isn't the Oscars, however, our Cecil B. DeMille Award winner this evening, the Goat's Head is almost exactly the same thing. 27 years ago tonight, I'm not sure if you remember what you were doing, but I happened to find this, the 1986 Greek celebration with closing remarks by Dr. Helen Vassallo. So I took this as my inspiration for tonight's comments. Helen has made so much possible for generations of students, Greek, non-Greek, somewhere in between, deciding. I might not be here in a tux tonight, but for Helen's support when someone who wasn't really sure what fraternities were all about, had a lot of questions, saw that this fraternity was kicked off campus but had a chance to rise from the ashes. I think it was her encouragement that caused me to consider going Greek. And tonight we're celebrating 100 years of Lambda Chi Alpha at WPI. 20 years ago, Helen helped us refounding fathers of a 100-year-old, or at that point, 80-year-old organization with learning about unity, learning about brotherhood and sisterhood, and also time management. So hopefully my remarks will be short enough and I won't get played off with some sort of music, and I'm trying to be really good about that, because those time management skills that you gave us helped a group of 66 type A personalities try to figure out why were we together, what were we trying to do, and what was the most efficient way to get from point A to point B. My parents happen to be in the audience tonight. They're from Pennsylvania, and I came a long way to school in Worcester with a guidance counselor that said, "Why in the world are you going to WPI? What is that school? Lehigh's just in the next town over." And I said, "I'm not going there for the pattern brick. I'm going there for something called the WPI plan," and I haven't seen anyone else talking about that. With a friendly smile, a supportive word, and encouragement often, she helped me in ways that she may not even know. It's such a pleasure to be part of this evening, because at WPI, we really are a community. And our community recognizes those that make such an important part and important contributions to our community. I am so happy to join this celebration of the lifelong achievements of such a classy lady. I felt I needed to dress the part. Congratulations, Helen. We all love you so much, and I look forward to seeing you at next year's faculty social and the year after that. Thank you, and God bless you.
So, as you can tell, they had a lot better things to say than I could ever come up with. Helen's made such an impact. Another person who'd like to share some thoughts, but also the citation from the Alumni Association, is Rachel Delisle.
Thank you. So I first met Helen, I actually was just thinking of this, almost 20 years ago when Warren appointed me as a senator in student government, and she came and spoke to us at a retreat, and I was opened to the world that was Helen in the awe of that. And then I was lucky enough to have her as a professor as an undergraduate and in the graduate MBA program, and she was my faculty advisor then. And then I had the pleasure and honor of serving with her in the advisory board for diversity and women's programs. So she's kind of been a constant for me. And if you've heard me speak before, when I speak about WPI, I often refer to WPI being a family, and Helen is one of the reasons why I have a WPI family. I have to say, in all the years that I've known her, I have only questioned her judgment once. It was in her org behavior class. She gave us a bunch of Legos for an exercise and then told us not to play with them, apparently not realizing she had a classroom full of engineers, and there was no way we weren't going to play with the Legos, but we tried to hold off a little bit. So Helen, as a professor, you challenged me to be a better student. As a leader, you provided an amazing role model. As a woman, you inspired me to live life to the fullest, to take every opportunity, and to conquer my fears. And as a mother, you showed me that I could have the best of both worlds and still turn out a great kid, or 10. I'm going to stick with 1, but 10's good for you. You truly helped make WPI my family, and for all of this, I am truly honored to be able to be a part of tonight's celebration and to present the citation for the Goat's Head Award. So, Helen Vassallo, for many alumni, you stand as a pivotal influence on their undergraduate years. We are pleased to recognize you for your enduring commitment to the WPI community. You came to WPI in 1967 to teach molecular biology and have since built a reputation as one of the most dedicated teacher scholars at the university. You are well known for your energy and creativity in the classroom and for your thoughtfulness and compassion as an advisor. Whether working on projects, engaging in discussion in a graduate class, or meeting over a coffee culotta in the campus center, you inspire your students to imagine new and creative solutions to challenging problems and achieve beyond even their own expectations. In 2003, the Board of Trustees recognized you for these qualities with its award for outstanding teaching. You inspire in word and in deed, gladly taking on leadership roles and paving the way for more women to take advantage of all that WPI has to offer. You became the second woman to be named a full professor at WPI and the first woman to be elected secretary of the faculty, the highest faculty post at the university. You served as a member of the President's Council for the Advancement of Women and Minorities, as Chief Justice of the Campus Hearing Board, and as chair of the Committee on the Status of Women. From 1989 to 1995, you served as head of the management department and held the Harry G. Stoddard Professorship in Management from 1991 to 1996. Known for your commitment to WPI's vibrant campus life, you have served for years as the advisor of the Phi Sigma Sigma sorority. Over the years, your students and colleagues have been as likely to see you performing on stage in a WPI theater production as teaching in the classroom. Beyond WPI, you have been an active in a number of community and civic activities, including the Girl Scouts, the Worcester Catholic Diocese, and the Worcester City Managers Advisory Committee on the Status of Women. You have done all of this while honoring your commitment to your family. You have raised 10 children, 3 of whom have earned WPI bachelor's degrees. 2 of those went on to earn WPI master's degrees as well. Your scholarship is a point of pride for WPI. You are the author of numerous articles, 2 books, and 1 monograph, and the co-holder of 2 patents. You have served frequently as an expert witness on the pharmacology and toxicology of local anesthetics. In 1981, you were named American Businesswoman of the Year by the American Businesswomen's Association. In 2008, you received the Women of Consequence Award from the Office of the City Manager of the City of Worcester. All of these accolades pale in comparison to the countless lives you have touched during your tenure at WPI, inspiring from afar as a role model for young people and guiding your students as a trusted advisor. The WPI Alumni Association is proud to present you with the Goat's Head Award for lifetime commitment to WPI.
Okay.
Everybody together.
All right.
One group.
Helen, call people in the front. That would be it. We want you right in the middle. Helen.
Yeah, that's a smile. All right, here we go. One more, just like that. Thank you.
Good.
Thank you. What does one say? Alrighty. What I will say is, when I first came to WPI, I did learn a little humility because my children had preceded me here. And so I was Rosemary's mother. I was not Professor Vassallo. I was Rosemary's mother. And Rosemary is like opening a bottle of champagne. So it's very difficult to outdo a bottle of champagne. I can't begin to thank, not you, Bill Trask. Your best contribution is all of those Clancy books and the ones I get to read. So at any rate, yes, he wouldn't give me tickets, but he did. He gave me tickets for all my kids to come to my MBA that I came here. I have had 30 fabulous years here. the kids do keep me young. I wouldn't even know who Taylor Swift is. They keep me young and alive. I look out there, and there are two young men, Gamel and Mike, who indeed were two of my first students, and they're here tonight. I can't believe it, and I thank you for that. I thank my family, okay? My zoo. I'm an educated zookeeper. That's really what I do. My son Vincent and his wife Sue, and I'm not going to do all of this. This is not an Oscar award. So I just want to say, I really just thought I was just doing my job. And that's what I have tried to do, to just do my job. I thank you for letting me do my job. I thank my Skull friends. I thank Susan Vick. Where are you? She was over here. Yep. Okay, yellow lady room. Whatever. I just want to thank each and every one of you, because you have all made a difference in my life, much more than I have made in yours. I thank you very, very much for this wonderful honor. Thank you.
Thank you, Helen, for all that you've done and continue to do and will do in the future for our great school. In addition, there's a prize that goes along with the plaque that you received at the Lucite. The Alumni Association, in your honor, as part of their annual contributions, will be making a donation for an undergraduate student to receive a $5,000 scholarship this year in your name. At the conclusion of this program, we hope you're going to ask, would ask that anyone for a group photo pose over here with Helen. We'll get everybody, all 3,000 of you, in one shot. We'll get a big ladder. You'll be amazed. Before we leave, I invite you to also sign Helen's guest book by either using the paper forms available at your table. There are pens there. Or if you're in the advanced stage, you can use the QR code you likely seen at the event. Yes, I won't explain to you what QR is if you don't know. The paper forms will be collected by a staff member at the exit, and the QR will be collected by the World Wide Web. I hope you've all enjoyed the weekend. It's been a great program. Thank you so much, Helen, for making this a very easy program to put together. As a reminder, Alumni Weekend is May 29th through June 1st. And before we leave, it's appropriate to thank the staff who makes this kind of event possible, particularly Aubrey Valley. Raise your hand. Thank you, Aubrey. And to close out, I'd like to invite Skull and Phi Sig. Phi Sigma Sigma. Yes, you're not getting out of it. Come to the front. You can, even if you don't have your beanie on, if you were in Skull, you have to come on. And you're going to lead in the alma mater. And if you don't know the tune, you can hum along.